Morris Costumes has promised us a superb 2022 animatronic lineup that uses brand new servo-motor animations. This is bringing the haunted community back to excitement for Morris Costumes. For everything scary, I'm GMHaunts, and Morris Costumes has reassured the haunted community for a second time. So just 10 days ago, the Halloween Party Expo opened for its first day in Las Vegas, Nevada, the convention where a lot of Halloween companies set up as vendors to show off their brand new items for the upcoming season. With the Halloween Party Expo came some disappointing news for Halloween fans like myself, who were anticipating the releases of Morris Costumes' 2022 animatronic lineup. Unfortunately, the lineup was not revealed, and Morris Costumes decided to hold off and only have their old animatronics from last year, 2021's lineup, set up due to shipping delays. They were not able to get in their 2022 animatronics. They did not really let anybody know before this happened. The haunted community kind of got in a very backlashy, if that's a word, backlashy state about Morris Costumes. People began to bash them, which I did not agree with. I thought that was a bad idea. But people began to say bad things about Morris Costumes. There was a lot of disappointment. And really, it was just a bad scene from the haunted community after all. And a couple days later, they had, I believe, 3 days of Party Expo. The Halloween Party Expo closed down in Las Vegas, Nevada. After this disappointment happened, the second day of Halloween Party Expo, Morris Costumes announced that they did have a 2022 animatronic lineup, and that it would be revealed at Transworld in March, and that people should not be disappointed, and that they have it, it's created, and that it's fantastic, but that it would be revealed in March, and that they were going to hold off and not reveal it at Halloween Party Expo. This sort of began to reassure the haunted community a little bit, but then what we got after this reassured the community even more. So I'm not going to lie, this next piece of information came out a week ago, so I'm a little bit late to this, but the reason I'm covering this is because not a lot of people have been talking about this recently, and it kind of went under the radar a little bit, so I wanted to do a video on it myself. This brand new piece of media came out a week ago, and I'm talking about it now, and it's very, very exciting. So before I get into it, I just want to say credit for this audio clip goes to Haunted Attraction Network on YouTube. Go subscribe to them. Go show some love to them on YouTube. This comes from their YouTube channel, and they were the person that filmed this interview. The interview was only about 6 minutes long, but it's with a representative from Morris Costumes, and they talk about the brand new lineup that Morris Costumes has, and they even talk about the brand new technology that they're going to be using on their animatronics. So without further ado, let's take a look at this brand new audio clip, again, coming from the Haunted Attraction Network.
We actually have some amazing pieces that are using some new servo motors that have already been tested in the market before. Some of the movements on them are just amazing and are going to blow the stuff that we have from 2021 out of the water. So unfortunately, everybody's going to have to stay tuned, but we will release it hopefully pretty soon.
So this was an interview that was conducted at the Halloween Party Expo, again by the Haunted Attraction Network, and they were talking with Sean Morris, who is a representative and works with Morris Costumes. Now this was a really, really interesting interview, but I just cut it down to the few seconds that you just heard, because I think for haunters like us, that few seconds is probably the most interesting thing in the whole interview, because Sean is talking about the 2022 animatronic lineup. So the first thing that Sean talks about is the fact that the animatronics for 2022 were decided to be held off by Morris Costumes, and that they decided to not show them at the Halloween Party Expo. Sean talks about the fact that there was already a lot of bashing. Again, this was taken a week ago, like the first day when the Party Expo opened, when this was a really big thing in the haunted community. He talks about the fact that Morris Costumes was aware that the bashing was going on. I said in my video that I thought the bashing was a horrible idea. I was not doing that. I actually said that I still love Morris. I was just disappointed that they didn't show anything. But I know there were people who were saying pretty bad things. And of course, like Sean mentioned, they were aware of it. And I don't think that was a great idea for anyone who did bash it. You really shouldn't do that. But anyway, enough with talking about the bashing of Morris Costumes. Sean then also talks about the brand new animatronic lineup and actually what it really is all about. And the most interesting thing that is mentioned in this entire part that I just played for you is that Sean mentions that they use a lot of servo-motor animatronics that were already tested in the market. Now, if you're unaware of what a servo-motor animatronic is, it's basically an animatronic that uses a special kind of motor that allows it to do some really, really unique animation. Now, if you're unaware, we actually got to already see a couple of animatronics that utilize this brand new servo-motor, one of them being Grim from Spirit Halloween, just from last year, from the 2021 season. I actually have Grim He's set up right over here. You can't see him fully, but he's right here. And then the other animatronic that we saw this year, or last year, I should say, for 2021, that utilized Servo-Motors was the Inferno Reaper from Home Depot, the 7-foot Reaper, the Inferno guy with the sickle. He also utilized a servo-motor. So Grim and Inferno Reaper were both really, really unique because they use these brand new servo-motors, and they could have a really, really unique animation. Grim, first of all, had a really unique and awesome animation. His arm moves up, but of course the thing that uses the servo motor is his head. His head had the power to actually be able to turn in all different directions. His eyes also used servo motors, so his eyes could dart around and look all over the place. It was a huge thing in the haunted community, and it's the first ever servo motor animatronic that the Halloween community has seen. I know I was amazed by him, and that's why I ended up picking him up, but he was just absolutely incredible because he was so realistic looking, and Grim, I think, was the best animatronic we saw that used a servo motor over the Inferno Reaper. But nonetheless, the Inferno Reaper also used this servo motor with the same kind of thing with his head and his body moving like that, and he also had a very unique animation. But again, I feel like Grim used the servo motor just a little bit better, but it was absolutely amazing. Now, I can't help but think that what Sean is talking about when he said that these servo motors were tested in the market already is he's directly talking about Grim and Inferno Reaper, because those are the only animatronics we've seen in the consumer-friendly market that have used servo motors, not talking about companies like Distortions that are more directed towards haunted houses. Consumers, more Grim and the Inferno Reaper. Now, this is pretty exciting because it confirms to us that the Morris Costumes 2022 animatronic lineup will be using servo motors. Now, this isn't insanely groundbreaking because we expected that to be happening, that Morris Costumes would dabble in the servo motors, but it is exciting nonetheless because this is just a confirmation that it actually will be happening. Now, this also sounds like that there's going to be multiple animatronics using servo motors by the way that Sean's talking about it. He seems to say that there's kind of multiple servo motor animatronics, which is really, really exciting. Now, other than this, Sean also talks about the fact that it's going to blow what they had for the 2021 season out of the water. Now, that's a lot to say, and that's kind of interesting as well, because Morris Costumes 2021 lineup was incredible, and the haunted community, including myself, really, really enjoyed it. We got to see things like the Hooded Phantom, Jack Stalker, I'm just thinking, right, a Soothsayer Witch. We're going to see a lot of really, really cool stuff, including the Towering Reaper. So to say that the new lineup is going to blow all of that stuff out of the water is really a big thing to say, and that really is building up your new lineup and really making it sound like it's going to be absolutely incredible. So the other thing Sean talks about during this little clip that I just showed you is 2 different releases of these animatronics. So in the beginning of this part, Sean mentions that he believes that these animatronics are going to be shown off at Transworld, and then at the end he says, hopefully we'll be releasing them pretty soon. Now, obviously, we already have gotten a confirmation that the 2022 lineup will be shown at Transworld. Morris Costumes came out and publicly said that after the disappointment of Halloween Party Expo happened. They said, don't worry, we're going to have it at Transworld. That's when it's going to be shown off. But then at the end of the interview, Sean mentions, hopefully we'll have it released pretty soon. Now, after Morris Costumes came out and said that it will be released at Transworld, the rumor came up of, will we be seeing it before Transworld, as in the demo videos and the stock photos, or will we actually be seeing them for the very first time at the Transworld event? Now, from this interview, we kind of get 2 different looks on that. Again, Sean kind of says 2 different things here, but honestly, I don't think Morris Costumes knows right now for 100%. Plans change all the time, and especially with the shipping delays and everything going on in the world right now and in the importing and exporting business, I know there's a lot of question marks, so they might not know themselves fully. But it's interesting because since Sean brought that up, I think it definitely is a possibility that we'll get to take a look at the 2022 animatronic stock videos and stock photos a little bit before Transworld, which is in March. Now, we're almost in February already, which means even if we do have to wait till Transworld, it's just about a month away. But it would be cool if we get to see it just a little bit sooner, maybe in 10-15 days. But I do think that's a possibility since Sean brought that up in this interview and said maybe hopefully we'll get to release it pretty soon. But he also mentions that just the lineup is amazing. He says that since the pieces, animatronics, the pieces use servo motors, they can really have some amazing animation. Now, that's definitely a true fact. And again, the things I just mentioned, Grim and Inferno Reaper, they really did feature some awesome animation, and you could really do a lot with servo motors. Now that we've gotten a solid 100% confirmation that Morris Costumes will be using servo animatronics for 2022, I'm really, really interested to see how they're going to use them and in what way. Will they be using it on clown animatronics, witches, zombies, ghouls, phantoms? You could really go in any direction with using servo motors. You can take an ordinary idea and plug it into a servo motor and give it a fantastic fantastic animation and make it just an incredible animatronic. So I'm really interested to see what the Morris Costumes team was able to put together. Obviously, their main manufacturer is SVI, Seasonal Visions International, who does a lot of stuff with Spirit, Halloween. Now, I want to mention SVI was the same company that manufactured both of the Servo-Motor animatronics that we've already seen in the consumer market, Grim and Inferno Reaper. They did both of them. So what we saw on Grim and Inferno Reaper definitely could be coming to Morris Costumes, because that's the company that Morris uses all the time, is SVI. Yes, they used Techie Design a little bit last year, but really not for their main lineup. So it does confirm to us that Servo-Motor animatronics are coming to Morris Costumes 2022 lineup from SVI. I'm just so excited to see it, and this is definitely more reassuring than what the original thing we got. When we heard that it was going to be shown off at the Transworld event, the brand new animatronics, it was reassuring, but there was still a little bit of like mystery about what we would actually be seeing and if they actually did have an animatronic lineup. Now that Sean in this interview mentioned Servo-Motors and that the animatronic lineup is incredible, I know the haunted community is definitely reassured at this point. The disappointment has ended, and people are more looking forward to Transworld now. Even if we do have to wait till Transworld to see these animatronics, we're just over a little bit of a let me restart that. We're just over a month away from seeing this brand new lineup, and after what Sean said about this being a fantastic lineup with some Servo-Motors, amazing animation, and animatronics that, quote, are going to blow 2021 out of the water, that's definitely a big thing to say, and I know the haunted community is really, really excited, along with myself. I can't wait to see what the Servo-Motors are going to look like on the Morris Costumes 2022 lineup. Not gonna lie, I kind of want to see some more skeletons, more ghouls using Servo-Motors. I kind of hope they don't go in the clown route and start using clowns as Servo-Motors. But if it's a cool design, then I'm probably gonna like it. I just think it would be a little bit cooler to use these Servo-Motors with some phantoms or some ghouls or some zombies. But I'm not gonna lie, I kind of predicted this. I kind of predicted back a couple months ago that Morris Costumes was going to be using some new technology for their lineup. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it's not like I had the biggest prediction, and how did I do this? It's pretty expectable that Morris Costumes is going to be using either some new technology or Servo-Motors in their 2022 animatronic lineup. But I did bring this up a couple months ago, I should say, and it's cool to be getting it confirmed now by Sean at Morris Costumes. I'm so excited to see the way that Morris Costumes uses the brand new Servo-Motors, and I'm just very much looking forward to Transworld. I'm going to be covering everything that Morris Costumes shows off at Transworld in March, and I'm so excited to see their booth at that event, and I know the rest of the haunted community is really, really reassured at this point, and we just can't wait to see these Servo-Motors at Morris Costumes 2022 animatronic lineup. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think Morris Costumes will use the Servo-Motors on, and kind of what designs you think they'll be coming out with for their brand new Servo-Motors that they'll be using from SVI. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up this little short video talking about this brand new interview that was conducted by the Haunted Attraction Network. I didn't want to make this a huge video, but I just wanted to share the fact that it's confirmed Servo-Motor animatronics are coming from Morris Costumes 2022 animatronic lineup. I know it's really exciting, especially after we saw Grim and the Inferno Reaper last year, and I'm really, really excited to see how Morris Costumes uses this brand new technology on their 2022 lineup. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, as always, for everything scary, I'm GMHaunts. I'll see you guys later for more Morris Costumes 2022 videos. Goodbye.